Okay, I'm Shane from Lonely Viking, and today I'm going to be doing a video that's a little bit of a departure from what I usually do. And what we're going to look at today is how to post um, videos to a whole bunch of different channels. So we're going to post to YouTube, Vimeo, and Facebook all in one go using an awesome app/service called Zapier. And so let's dive right in. Okay, um, let me let me start by just kind of running through what we're going to do and a bit of a setup. So we are here in this content creation folder, which I created last week when I first worked on this Zap. And as you can see on the right hand side over here, there are actually 4 Zaps because I went through a bit of a process of trial and error trying to get this right. And so I'm going to look at the one that I'm actually using and run through it very briefly. And then this one at the bottom, which was the version 2. Okay, well, my naming conventions here are not that great. But that's the one that I was using just before this final one that I'm using now. And I'll explain to you why I changed it. And basically, okay, let's open it up. I'm going to open up this one that I'm not using, and I'm going to show you how this works. So the way Zapier works is it requires a trigger, and then from that trigger, it performs actions. Okay, so the very first part of the process is a trigger, and what I'm using is to send a message in a certain way inside of Slack, and then that will trigger the process of these actions inside of Zapier. So this is how I've done it. I send a message in Slack. What happens then is Zapier gets that message, and then it's triggered to go and perform an action, which is to look up a spreadsheet row in Google Sheets. I'll show you the sheet in a little bit. And then what it does is it finds my video file inside of Google Drive. And then there's a step here that delays the posting of the video, and I'll show you there's a column inside of the sheet that has a time in it, and this will delay until that time. So the reason I put that in is, let's say I recorded 4 videos today, which happens to be a Thursday, and I want to stagger the posting of those videos, one a week for the next 4 weeks, or like one a day for 4 days next week. I can then in that column put a time when I want it to post, and it will wait until it runs the rest of these actions, which are below here. And now you do need to have a paid account for Zapier to be able to do this the way that I've done it. This section at the bottom here is called paths, and these paths run conditionally based on different input variables that we get from up here, which I'll show you in the sheet as well. Right, so then it's going to post to YouTube. This step posts to Vimeo and Facebook, and the reason I combine those is because I can only have 3 steps in the path. And then lastly, it sends a message to Slack. Okay, quickly, the reason why I have a new version of this is because Google Drive very frustratingly has something that caused me not to be able to use it, and that is, I don't know if you've ever tried to download a large file from Google Drive. It pops up with a little message in the browser that says this file is too large for, essentially the file's too big for Google Drive to run a virus scan on. Do you want to download it anyway? And I haven't found a way to overcome that. So when I was testing this, I used very small video files under 100 megs because I wanted to test quickly with uploads, and I didn't want the uploads to take long. So I didn't use like a 700 meg video or whatever. And so the Zap worked perfectly. It would find the file in Google Drive, and then it would post it to YouTube, Facebook, and Vimeo. The problem is, once I started to actually use this in production, the file sizes were all bigger than, I think the limit is 125 megs for their virus scanning. So then the Zap was failing, and I couldn't understand why until I visited the URL to download the video in the browser, and I got this message. And so essentially it seems, and I googled a ton to try to figure this out, and I haven't been able to figure it out yet. So Zapier, then when it gets to the Google Drive thing, it fails because it's expecting to get an actual MP4 file that it can upload to the various things in the last section there. But instead of getting an MP4 file from the URL that I've used, it's getting this page with a message to say, do you want to continue? And I actually don't know how to make it continue from that point of view, or how to skip that virus message. And so I had to abandon this version. And so let me show you the current version. Instead of using Google Sheets, we then go and I have to upload the video to one of our DigitalOcean servers via FileZilla, and then use that URL, that file location, to continue the rest of the Zap. Otherwise, it's exactly the same. So I've just had to eliminate that Google Drive step, which is very upsetting because it does add extra steps to my workflow. Because when I create a video in Camtasia, I could just literally save it into the shared drives on my machine, and it automatically uploads. And then when I run the Zap, it would just find it inside of Google Drive, which would have been much better. But now I've got to open FileZilla, upload the file, which is not the end of the world. But obviously the whole point of this is to automate and make things quicker. And so I had it working, and I was very excited, and then I had to make the process slightly slower and a little bit more manual, but it's really not the end of the world. Okay. Wow, there's a lot to get through, and I'm talking pretty fast, but I hope you're still with me. Let's go and have a look at the sheet that I created, which is this sheet that it looks up a row when it's triggered from Slack. Okay, so so here's the sheet. Okay, and I've just called it video metadata, and I've actually just kind of finished a video in Camtasia, and it's a little Elementor quick tip video. So I'm gonna just fill in the sheet and show you how that works now quickly, but first I'm going to run through these columns. Okay, so here's the file name, and I've had to make sure these file names have no spaces or special characters, and this one I still have to change. And then here's the title of the video. This is going to go into the title field for the 3 video services that we're using. This trigger column I initially made when I made this because I was going to use it, but in the process of iterating through making different changes to Zapier and trial and error, I realized I didn't need the trigger column. But because I had created it, the way Zapier works is it looks at your sheet and with the column numbers. And so description column D was the description column, and then if I removed column C, then all of these subsequent columns would shift one down, and then it would break the Zap, right? So I've just left that trigger column in there, but you really don't need it. Description is what's going to go in the description field of YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo. And then here's a column for tags. And then what I've done over here on the right hand side is I've made these little things to say, do you want to post it to which of these services do you want to post it to? And then I can, with the Zap, I can I can tell it whether I want it to do that or not. So, and then this is the posting time, which is the thing that we use in that delay step. Okay, So I'm just going to fill this in quickly. As you can see, I've already filled in the title over there. And then if I go to find there's my file name. And I'm going to paste that in there. And nothing in the trigger column. Now here I'm going to have to write, oh no, what am I doing? I'm going to have to write a little description. And so, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this video and then I'm going to fill this in with the tags and the description. And the reason for that is that I don't want this video to be too long. I think it's going to be pretty long as it is anyway. Cool, so I'm going to pause and then we'll be back. Okay, so I have edited my description because I remembered I like to have that sort of series title in the square brackets. And then I've put in a little description. It's got my Facebook group link and all the things that we usually have in the description. I've added some tags, which are just comma separated tags for YouTube especially. I don't think Vimeo supports tags. I don't actually remember. Okay, and so I want this video. The reason I had YouTube set to no on these top two is because they were already on YouTube and I wanted to post them to the other two when I decided we should post on more than one channel. And so this video is nowhere yet. So I'm going to say yes, it's going to post to YouTube, Vimeo, and Facebook. And then I'm going to set this time to, the way the Zap works is if the time is earlier than when the Zap runs, the Zap will run as long as it's not more than a day, which I should maybe change. But I'm going to copy this and then I'm going to change this to, what's today? The 20th of Feb. And it's 11:42 right now, so let's just make this 11. Okay, so it will post because it's earlier than, it's earlier than when the Zap will fire, but it's not more than a day earlier, so it is going to run. And I guess as we go through making this new Zap, I could change that part, but our sheet is sorted. So we've got row number 4. It's got our title, our file name, title, description, tags. We've set where we want it to go, and we've given it a post time. So let's jump back into Zapier and create a new Zap. Okay, hopefully I can remember the process of this, otherwise it might be a bit stop-starty. But I'm really keen, so let's jump in. Okay, so you're inside Zapier and you can just click on this big orange button at the top that says Make a Zap. Okay, and then it's going to ask you what app do you want to start with. So we're going to start with Slack. So there we go, Slack. And now we got to choose a trigger or event. So what did I choose here? It was new pushed message. So this is pretty cool. And so we'll say continue. Now we've got to, if you're not signed into Slack, you're going to have to choose an account to sign into Slack with. As you can see, we've got a lot. So I'm just going to sign in with my own account. And then you're going to click continue. If you need to still sign in, it's going to open a little extra window where you're going to give Zapier permission for your app. So let's test and review. Pushed message A. Okay, so it's found our message, which is great. And we'll say done editing. Now we're going to go to the next step, which is Google Sheets. And we're going to go to find spreadsheet row. I think. Lookup finds a row by column and value. Yes, that's what we need. Lookup spreadsheet row. Okay, so I'm going to just use my account here. And then we've got to find that sheet. So I'm going to go into my Google Drive. There is a bug that I realized that you can't use sheets inside of shared drives to do this, which is very annoying. So I'm using one from my drive. Okay, now we've got to find that spreadsheet. So let's click here, and it's right there. Video metadata, probably because I've used it before, but there's a search function. You can just type in and it'll find it. Okay, worksheet is just 0 because I only have one worksheet. And then lookup column, and the way we're going to do this, the way I have determined to do this is to use, so we're choosing which column we're going to use to find the row right now. So the way I chose to do this is to use, I believe, I can't remember if I use name or title. It doesn't really matter because when you push your Slack message, it's going to use that string to search. So I'm just going to go here with title, and then we're going to say lookup value, and because we only have one action so far, or one trigger, we're going to have to choose something from Slack. So what I used over here was, where is it? You could use the content of the actual message, which would be no, I'm not seeing this here. That's weird. Oh, here we go. So you could use the actual message content, but which is this here, message text. Okay, so you could use that, or you could use this one here called text added. Now, if you don't use Slack, you could find another way to run a trigger. In fact, you could use another spreadsheet, or you could even use that same spreadsheet, and you could use a trigger called new spreadsheet row, and then Zapier will watch that sheet, and as you add a new row, it will fire. The reason I used Slack is because I didn't want to, as I add a row, if I haven't completed filling in the description and everything, the Zap's going to fire and then the information is going to be incomplete. So I'm using Slack. But you could use that same sheet if that wasn't a concern for you, or you could even use another sheet. And once you've completed the sheet with the metadata in, you could then go to the other sheet and add a row, and you could type in whatever you want there, like, and you could fire the Zap that way. I'm just using Slack because we have Slack and I love it. So as I was saying, you can use the actual message text, or you can use text added, which is what I've gone for. And I'll show you how that works in Zapier in a minute. Okay, so then it's asking supporting lookup column. We don't need that. Supporting lookup value. We don't need that. We don't need to set the order. And we don't want to create a row if it doesn't exist. Okay, so this Zap's actually going to break now, because where it says here, this is the text added, you entered into the text box, that is the sample data that's come into our Slack step, and we don't actually have that in our sheet. So maybe what I should do is I should duplicate this row. And then just paste this in, and then I'm going to switch that with this text. This is the text that you entered into the text box. There's no way to copy this, which is very frustrating. So this is the text that you entered into the text box, exclamation. Is that correct? This is the text that you entered into the text box. This is the text that you entered. Okay, so that should work now because those that matches. So the testing of the Zap should work. Okay, so then over here I'm going to click continue, and then you can see it has now found our Zap. So our row. So I'm gonna test and review. Oh, it's not found anything. Man, these are the frustrating parts. Okay, troubleshooting. I'm not sure if you guys want to stick around for all this troubleshooting. If it's taking me long, I'll pause and figure it out and tell you what I did. Title, we're going to look up that value. Maybe I didn't type this in correctly. Right, so let's go back to step 1 and see if I can copy that text. Find data, pushed message. It's right at the bottom. Oh, I can copy it. So copy and paste. Oh, paste. Okay, now I'm sure that that's the same, right? So that's what it's searching for. Let's test and review again. Okay, it found it. So I clearly didn't type that correctly. So I'm glad that that was the problem, because that is much easier to problem solve than some of the things I had to do while I was working on this, creating it. Okay, so you'll see it's got our row ID, which we don't need. It's got our file name, which we do need. It's got, this is the text that you entered into the text box. So that is our additional text that we, or that's in our title column. You can see my trigger column is empty because I don't need it. Our description is there. Our tags are there. And yes to YouTube, yes to Facebook, yes to Vimeo, and there's our delay time. Cool, so we're done editing that step. Now we're going to do another step, which is, as you can see here, Vimeo offers its own things which it calls helpers, and that's where you can use paths, you can filter, you can take a string and format it, and you can pull certain data out, etc. Here we're going to do delay. We're going to delay this step, and then we're going to choose delay until. So we want this to wait until it gets to the time that we've got in our column. So then delay by Zapier, delay until, and then I'm going to click continue, and here we're going to click on this little plus icon on the right hand side, and we're going to go into our sheet, and we're going to go to post time. And so now this is going to delay until the time set in our sheet. And then over here is where you can say continue if it's up to 1 day, because it says how should we handle dates in the past. And so this is what I set it to, continue if it's up to 1 day. But I think it might be better to just say always continue. So I'm going to do that, say continue, and test and review. Okay, so a test time was sent to delay by Zapier just now. That's awesome. Okay, so we've got our delay. Now let us add our paths. Okay, you could do these steps one at a time. So like do YouTube. Once YouTube's done, do Vimeo. Once that's done, do Facebook. It's quite linear. It's one step after the other. So I did it with a path, and because we have a like a paid account, we can use paths. So I don't think you would actually be able to do this Zap with a free account. I think you're only allowed maximum of 2 or 3 steps anyway. I see I haven't named my Zapier, so Video posting tutorial. Okay, let's get going on the next step. So we just click the plus button at the bottom, and now, as I mentioned, I'm going to be using paths. So I'm going to click paths over there, and that's going to set up this like sort of step that has nested steps inside of it. And so we're going to conditionally run these. So it's given us 2 paths so far. I'm going to edit that. I'm going to name this post to YouTube. Continue. So now we've got to set up rules for this thing. So this is where our columns that say yes, no come in. I'm going to look up a spreadsheet row and say if YouTube, so YouTube column exactly matches yes. Now you could do that differently if you wanted to. It wouldn't have to exactly match. You could say contains or however you want to do that. So let me continue. And so if our YouTube column has a yes in it, then we're going to continue with the step. So if that is true, then we're going to do this. So I'm going to click on do this, and here I'm going to say YouTube, and then upload a video. That's the default, and it's the only option. So thanks for that. Okay, so now we've got to choose a YouTube account. As you can see, I've already added an account, so there we go. Continue. Now we're going to map our sheet to our YouTube video. And this is where our columns come into play again. So look up in Sheets. Title is Title. Description is Description. Now, I'm going to come back to this video step, okay? Privacy status. I'm just going to make this private for now because I don't actually want to post to my YouTube channel yet. Although I think at the end of the video, I'll just run the Zap that we actually have, that I actually have running. So this would depend if you want this to be public or unlisted or private or whichever. So actually, I'll set it to public. Publish. Publish at. Okay, I'm just going to leave that because, see, I could have used, instead of having a delay step, I could have set this publish at for that delay time column, the post time that we made. The reason I didn't do that is because Vimeo doesn't have this option and Facebook doesn't have this option, whereas YouTube does. So if you were posting only to YouTube, you could then set that. Okay, tags. I got my tags column. Notify subscribers, yes. Oh yeah, I got to fill in this video field. Okay, so what we did is to have a specific URL inside of our DigitalOcean. As I explained, I got to upload the file to FileZilla, and so I'm just going to go and get that URL quickly. I don't actually know what it is, so let's see. There we go. I think I'm going to actually obfuscate that. Is that the right word? Okay, so we're going to paste that URL in, and since it's a public URL, I've blurred that out. So we've got the beginning of the URL, and then I want to append something to the end of it. So I'm going to click on the plus button. I'm going to go to my Google Sheets, and I'm going to click on the name column. And as you can see, that's going to put the actual file name of our video in there. So now I've got, in totality here, I've got a URL that points directly to the MP4 file, which is what Zapier needs to push that file to the different video services. So now I'm going to click continue. I'm going to skip the test because I don't actually want to post a video to to YouTube. So we're just going to run through the step like that. I'm going to skip the test and I'm going to say done editing. And then I'm going to close this step of the path. The other two steps are actually pretty much exactly the same, so I don't know that I really need to spend all the time going through them. But this one is what I call post to Vimeo and Facebook. And these essentially are going to run exactly the same way. We're going to choose this over here. We're going to say is YouTube is, yeah, this was a little frustrating because I would have liked to separate these two steps. And so I had to use an OR. I think I had to use an OR operator over here. So let's say rules Facebook column exactly matches yes. See, yeah, this was frustrating. I wanted to separate these, but because I used the path, I couldn't have more than 3 steps inside a path. So basically I decided that any video that I want to post to Vimeo, I also want to post to Facebook. And so I could have used one column there, but I think what I did is I made this OR thing. There's room for improvement, but and now that I mentioned that, if you like are a Zapier whiz, or if you just intuitively see like something that I can improve, let me know. I'd love to know. I do love this Zap, but there's always room for improvement, right? So I said, or if Vimeo exactly matches yes. I don't actually remember exactly what I did here, but I'm pretty sure it was this. Then we're going to continue. Okay, so it would have continued. Your path would have continued. And then we're going to add, well, let's start with Vimeo. And I'll show you a few limitations to these. YouTube's uploading is much nicer. So Vimeo, I'm going to select an account, which I've already added. Then we're going to go through, this one starts with the video URL, right? So we're going to put the URL in and then append the file name there. Name is title. So you can see different naming conventions in the different apps. So name here is actually our title field. Description is our description. They don't have the option for adding tags, so we can't add tags there. And in fact, I don't think they even support tags inside of their platform, but I could be wrong about that. Who can watch this? While I was testing, I set all of these, like I set the YouTube one to unlisted. I set this one to only me, so that it wouldn't post publicly. I would ordinarily say anyone because I want that. Okay, I'm going to skip the test as I said because I don't actually want to post this test to Vimeo. Then we're going to add another step here. Whoa, I just saw something that I didn't know. You can do paths within paths. Man, this opens up a whole new world. Okay, maybe there's definitely room to improve this app and I can change it, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to say Facebook, and I think it's Facebook pages, yeah? And create page video. That was that. And then it's all of our account linking. I've got to choose a page that I manage. And I've got to add in the video URL again. So we're going to use our name appended to that URL. Title is title, and description is description. And you can see it doesn't make space for tags either, which sucks. But running this Zap is about 7,000 times faster than posting individually to YouTube, Facebook, and Vimeo. Okay, maybe 7,000 is a conservative estimate, maybe 12,000 times faster. Okay, then continue. Okay, and then I'm going to skip the test. I'm going to close that path. I'm going to add a new path. And for the way I wanted this to work is we're going to end off where we started, and that is with Slack. So I'm going to say Slack message, continue. Now, what did I do here? I can't actually remember what I used here as the rule. Man, that's frustrating. I'm sure it was something brilliant. If I'm honest, I'm sure I came up with like a really brilliant idea, but it was so brilliant that I actually can't even remember it. Yeah, I don't know. It's required though, so let's say I don't know, let's just say that YouTube matches yes. Actually, I think I probably selected Facebook or Vimeo there because sometimes I don't post to YouTube. Like when I wanted to post videos I already had in our YouTube channel to Vimeo and Facebook. So I'm just going to go with that for now. And we're going to do this. I'm going to go Slack and then say send channel message. Choose a Slack account. Pick a channel. I'm going to send this to our admin team channel. And then message text. Here you can write whatever you want. And there's some formatting help docs for Slack, which I definitely used. And before I fire the Zap that I've got that works, I'll show you what I did there. But it's going to be very long for me to show you here while I actually try to remember what I did. Okay, so send as a bot. Yes, that's fine. Bot name, we can say whatever. Video posting bot. I can't remember what I used there. Bot icon, you can go and if you wanted to add a different one every time, I guess you could have some kind of dynamic variable that you add to your sheet or something. I think I just added our Lonely Viking logo, which I have in a URL like on a server somewhere. I'm not going to do that now. Auto expand links, this one I set to no because basically it uses like a like when you post to Facebook, it gets an image from that URL and it expands it. So I didn't want this to do that, so I set that to no. Link usernames, yes, I think I put someone's username in that message. And then schedule, we don't want to schedule. File, we don't need a file. Broadcast to channel, no. Okay, so we would continue. And then it's going to send a message to Slack. So that is basically the entire Zap that posts to our 3 video channels. It does that based on data that we've input into a sheet. It then uses one of those columns of the sheet to delay that posting if you so choose. It then decides which of the platforms you want to post to, which, as you saw in this video, is something that I can actually work on. And there was one more step that I left out. I'll show you in the other Zap. It uses the YouTube video to create a draft blog on our website. Okay, so that I thought was also pretty cool, because Zapier works with WordPress as well. So that worked. So it delays, it then posts to whichever of the services we selected. It posts a draft blog post to our website, and then sends a Slack message to say, hey, everything was done. So I'm just going to go out of here. And now's the big moment where I'm going to run the Zap that's actually on, and we can see if it works, right? And hopefully it does, because if it doesn't, I'm going to have to pause the video, fix everything, and then do it and pretend that it did work to save myself from the embarrassment. So let's go ahead and do that. Just before I fire it off, I'm going to open up the Zap, the working Zap. You can see here it's got a little exclamation mark, and I don't think those are actual errors. They're just errors based on the sample data, but I think the Zap actually fires and works properly. I have actually used it, so I know it does, and I don't think that that's going to stop it from happening. So you know these first 3 steps, and then these are going to run conditionally. I just wanted to show you quickly our YouTube one. Once the video is posted to YouTube, it also creates a WordPress draft post, as I mentioned. That one is quite easy to set up as well. You basically just take all of your input data from your sheet, and you can make a blog post. And then it does all of that stuff, and then it sends our Slack message, and that's the one that I wanted to run through with you to show you that message. You can see that I've created quite a monster of a message over here. So according to Slack's formatting, this is how you mention the whole channel so that everybody gets notified. This says there's a new video, and then it gives the title of our video has been added to one or more of your video channels, and here's where the video is added. Then I've added here YouTube, Vimeo, Facebook, and website post, and then based on our columns that say yes or no, it's going to say yes or no over here. Here's what needs to happen next depending on the above, and then I'll show you the rest of this message in Slack, but this basically just gives a whole bunch of links, and then it says this video needs to be manually uploaded to Instagram TV, and that's because Zapier doesn't support Instagram TV. Okay, so let's do it then, right? Should we go for it? Should we run it? Okay, so first things first, I have to first create I'm actually going to delete this row because it's bothering me, because it's not real. So I first have to create my row in my sheet. So we've gone through that, everything's there. Okay, that's the first step. Now I've got to fire up FileZilla, and you can see I'm already connected, but I would go and connect to content video uploads, and it's fine. And we're using RunCloud and DigitalOcean, by the way. Slack just sent me a message to tell me that I SSH'd into the server, which is pretty cool. We've got these cool things set up. Okay, so then I'm going to go into my web apps folder. I'm going to go into content. I'm going to go into videos. And I'm going to upload my video. Now, hopefully this is not going to take too long. So this step, as I said before, I would have been able to eliminate this manual step if Google Drive would not be ridiculous and would let me find a file without having to check for a virus, or download a file without checking for a virus. So this is busy uploading, as you can see down here in the bottom left. I'm going to pause it. I'll come back when it's done. Awesome, the file's uploaded. As you can see on the right hand side here, we've got Elementor Navigator.mp4. So then what I like to do is go into the browser and just check that the video is working and available for Zapier to download. So there it is. So that's great. So what we're going to do then is jump into Slack, and I'm going to show you how I fire this off. Okay, so I'm here in one of our Slack channels. It's the admin one. You can see that we get these 0 things also done through Zapier, and every time there's a payment inside of our 0 account, it sends us a little excited little thing here so that we get excited about the work that we do, which is cool. Okay, and then what we're going to do here is, because of the way I set up the Zap, it doesn't use the message text, it uses the additional text. I don't know if you remember that step. So basically I could use any message, so even one in any channel, any message that I've previously written. And if you hover over a message, you'll see on the right hand side here, it's got all of these options. So I'm going to click on the little 3 button things, and I'm going to click push to Zapier. That's going to open a little window, and then I'm going to go and choose my Zap, and as you can see, there's my connected Zap, Lonely Viking content creation, post a new video Zap. And then in my additional text over here, what I'm going to add is this, because this is what our Zap is looking for in the Sheets step, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to put that in there. And then I'm literally just going to, let me just check that there are no spaces here or anything. And then I'm going to say push. And that's going to push my message to Zapier. And then the Zap should run. As you can see now, inside of our content team, what you call this thing? Channel. Geez, what happened? It's now sent the Zap message step that I set up, right? So let's look at that. It says at channel, so it's notifying everyone in the channel. I got our little icon there, Lonely Viking, and I'll name the bot Zapier video posts. And then it says a new video, work faster with Elementor's Navigator feature has been added to one or more of your channels. Here's where the video was added. Yes, YouTube. Yes, Vimeo. Yes, Facebook. Yes, website post. I need to make that bold so it matches the rest, because that is annoying. Here's what needs to happen next, depending on the above. So add to the appropriate playlists on YouTube. So that's not an option, or I think it is an option in the Zap, but because I have different playlists for like different video series, I didn't want to set that up immediately. So and you'll see these are all links. And then Vimeo, it says I must move it to a certain folder on Vimeo. I must add tags on Facebook, edit the blog post on the website, and then the video also needs to be manually uploaded to Instagram TV. And you see I've got a link there. You can find the video in Google Drive. I don't think this is correct, so I need to change that. You can get the video description and tags from this sheet, and that links to our sheet. And then it tags Lindsay. For some reason this tag doesn't work, so it says Lindsay, you're up, and then Lindsay goes and does all of these things that are in the message. So that's how the Zap works. Let me click on one of these and let's see if it worked. I don't see it there, so it seems like the Zap broke. Let's see. So if we go into Zapier now, you can go to task history. and you'll see there's our Zap and it says success. So technically it should have worked. I don't know why it's not there in YouTube. Let's go check the other things. Let's go to Vimeo. Okay, there it is in Vimeo. So if I click on it, you'll see it's now in Vimeo. How easy was that? If I go back to Slack and I click on Facebook, it's going to go into my Facebook video page videos, and there it is. Work faster with Elementor's Navigator feature. I'm going to have to troubleshoot this YouTube. Man, that's so frustrating. Okay, well, I'm going to have to troubleshoot that. It did work before. It's not working now, which is super frustrating. So it's going to make the video super long if I go and troubleshoot that now. So I'm not going to do that. Oh yes, this takes us to our blog. As you can see, wp-admin edit.php. And then here I can go to Instagram TV. And so I think it's super cool how that works when it completely works. I don't know if maybe the video is still uploading to YouTube and so it isn't showing it yet. But as far as I know, it should be there. Let me go into the Zap and just see. So on the task history, you can click in and then it gives you a little tick box for everything that worked. Okay, this path did not run. Ah, okay. Text exactly matches yes. Why did that not run now? Okay, I'm gonna have to go into my Zap. Sorry, I said I wasn't gonna do this, but I don't think it's gonna take super long. So now that I see what the issue is, edit. Wait, not that. Post to YouTube, column F. Yeah, column F, text matches, yes. So if I go back to my sheet, that is set to yes. So I'm not going crazy, right? That should work. Cool. Now you know what the problem is. I'm going to fix the problem and my Zap will continue to work. Because look here, if I click yes, oh, your path would not have continued. Okay, so I'm going to have to go and test that. But that's the end of this video. I hope that it gave you a good insight into some of the things you can do with Zapier, how Zapier works. I love it and I think it's amazing. This particular Zap saves me really a huge amount of time. And yeah, I hope you liked it. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share, and all of those things. Cool. Have an amazing day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.